Hey everybody, this is Jack. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 finale because it was a whirlwind of emotions. There was a lot that happened, and I came up with 5 of my favorite moments in the episode, so we're going to dive into those right now. I should also mention that because we're going to be discussing Season 5 finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there will be spoilers for Season 5, for the finale, and for Avengers Infinity War. Coulson's choice. This show started because Nick Fury gave Agent Coulson another chance at life. He was stabbed through the heart with an Asgardian scepter, Loki's scepter, and we thought that he was done for in the first Avengers movie. But then this show started. We learned that through some pretty questionable methods, Nick Fury was able to revive Coulson. The problem is, when the show started, we learned that Coulson wasn't really given a choice as to whether or not he continued living. Nick Fury made that decision for him because he considered him an invaluable Avenger. Now, Coulson is alive and kicking. That's great. But it was really cool the way that the show presented us with a choice at the end. Coulson got to decide whether or not he was going to continue living. He got to decide whether or not he saved himself or he saved the world. And it's kind of poetic that the show started with that choice, but it wasn't really his. And now we finally get closure by giving him the choice to decide whether or not he lives or dies. Deke has grown to become one of mine, and I think the community's favorite characters. At the beginning of the season, he was kind of a Star-Lord copycat, but he's really grown to become his own character. And of course, after we learned everything about his heritage, the way that he is the grandson of Fitz and Simmons, it's given us so many reasons to love him, to love his whole relationship with the team, his dynamic with Daisy. Everything about his character is really fun and entertaining to watch. And at the beginning of the season, I wasn't really expecting that from Deke. I didn't think that he was going to be that complex of a character, but of course, knowing the writers of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I knew that it was a possibility, and I am really happy with where his character ended up. When Deke says goodbye in this final episode, we get to see him going off into the world. It's really left ambiguous as to whether or not he survived the change in the time loop, to see if he will continue into season 6. And I like the way that they left it open-ended because I really like his actor. I like Deke as a character, and I hope that there is a possibility that he will return at least for a cameo appearance in the next season. Regardless, though, even if this is the last we see of Deke, I was really happy with the way that the writers left it ambiguous, and I just really happy with Deke as a character this season. So thank you to the writers of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for giving us another amazing, lovable character. Talbot is another character that I am really happy with the development of. He started off as a pretty flat character in terms of death. He was not friends with S.H.I.E.L.D. He became friends with S.H.I.E.L.D. He reached a point where he was questioning his allegiance to Hydra, to S.H.I.E.L.D., and we finally got to this point now where he's become so frustrated with all of the different voices in his head that he has become his own character as the villain Graviton. And the way that they got him to that point over the past few seasons, whether they were planning it or not, has been pretty phenomenal. In particular, I really enjoyed Daisy's scene with Talbot, where she talks him down, because you can tell that she's really trying to get to him. She is trying to relate to him on a level that he can really understand. And it almost seems like it's going to work. And then, of course, at the last minute, he decides that Daisy isn't on his side, S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't on his side, no one is on his side except for himself. And that's when Daisy is forced to do what she does by ejecting him into the atmosphere. It was really sad to see him go, but at the same time, I feel like the writers went as far as they could with that character. They developed him really well, and the reasoning behind his actions was really fleshed out. Especially in antagonist motivations, it's really nice to see that the writers care, that we understand why they're doing what they're doing, and we have an emotional relationship with them. So their choice to make Graviton, Talbot, the ultimate villain of this season, and the way that they did it was pretty impressive. FITZ'S death. This scene was really emotional. Even though the whole time I was watching it, and I'm sure many of the other fans of S.H.I.E.L.D. were watching it, we kind of knew in the back of our heads that there's another version of Fitz out there. It was still really emotional to see Mac's reaction to it, specifically. Mac's reaction, Simmons' reaction, of course May's reaction, but the way that the whole team was affected by this loss. I honestly was kind of prepared to see someone go, but to see Fitz go the way that he did, the writers, every time they get me. Anyways, his death was probably one of my favorite most emotional scenes from this season. And even though he's not really dead, it's going to stay up there for me as probably one of my top scenes. That being said, I'm really excited to see how they go about finding Fitz, the state that he's going to be in mentally, especially considering the development that he's had over this past season is essentially erased. His character, in terms of his relationship with Framework Fitz, is going to be interesting in the next season if they address it. I'm just really excited to see where they go with his character in the future. Coulson's goodbye. The final scene in this season is rough. Not only have we just watched Fitz die, when we see the plaque and then Coulson getting off the plane, and it's become very apparent that Coulson is most likely going to die. He is within his last few days on this earth. It's really, really interesting to see this show come completely full circle. Like I mentioned before, it started because they decided to revive Coulson. It started because Coulson was saved. And now we've gotten to the point where Coulson is going to die, and that he's going to die after doing so much amazing work with these characters that he considers to be greater heroes than any of the other characters that he's worked with. And that part was really cool to watch, because you get to see that from his perspective, these people are all heroes. And the way that this show addresses the fact that heroes don't always have to work out in the spotlight, they can work in the shadows, really comes full circle in this episode, because you get to see Coulson's perspective, the fact that he really has a huge appreciation for everyone that has worked with him in the shadows to do good. Not just the heroes out there. He's not jealous of them. He wouldn't trade his experience for the world. And that is, I'm going to say it again, phenomenal. I was really impressed with this season, especially considering the writers we knew were going to be wrapping it up. But we got a renewal for a 6th season. That's pretty exciting. I'm going to make a video about that within the next couple of days here. But seeing Coulson's progression as a character, seeing the whole team's progression in terms of their dynamic shifting to being at odds with each other, back to being friends with each other again and working together as a team. It's just been really interesting to watch this season, and I've come to expect nothing less from the writers of this show. And I'm really excited to see where the show goes in the future, the impact that it continues to have on the MCU, and the connectedness that it has with the rest of the Marvel Universe. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to see you in the next video. Like I said, I'm going to be posting a video about Season 6, my predictions, the details on when it's going to be coming out, that kind of thing. But in the meantime, I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. Consider subscribing. I'm going to be producing more S.H.I.E.L.D. content. I also do video game content. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.